Hello. Did I do Tai Chi? Do you mean today? No, I should. If I'm being good, I should, but I did not. Share stream. Well, well, so when I was streaming, I'm gonna have to close this over here. Sorry. Sorry. When I was streaming earlier today, I was in the middle of making a hash, um, like a gameplay hash system that gets recorded with the gameplay tests, so we can tell on exactly which turn things go a little bit wrong. And I hadn't yet gotten to the point where things compile. And I realize that even once they compile, I'm going to want to restructure them a little bit. But first, let's get down to brass tacks and make things happen. I'm not going to do this base 16 just to get done faster. We're just going to write it out as an integer, because who cares? I just don't have a parsing for a hex number right now. Loaded test doesn't have a version. Signed versus unsigned. Gameplay hash. Well, let's use 64. And this hash is, string to int. That's fine. Okay, so now we just have to define get gameplay hash, which, well, I don't know what that should be. Probably we take important entities in the game, like the characters, the monsters, the objects you can use, and just hash all their integer coordinates together. So we want a good integer hash. I don't know if I have a good integer hash. Let me see. Well, Knuth says it's a U32 hash. All right, we'll use this for now. It can change later. All right, we've got a hash function. Not yet, but why Tai Chi? It seems to be a good way to relax, but an inefficient martial art against skilled opponents. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm not going to get into that argument. Not going to get into that argument. no matter what time I start a stream, people will complain about the time. So complaints are not meaningful in terms of what I should do. Okay. So I'm going to make a thing called hash entities or hash entities, right? Which is going to be, it's going to take an array of some entity type and return U64. And we're going to say for A, for every entity okay, I need to know what is the range of integers representable exactly in 32-bit floats. Okay, so we get quite a range. Okay, so X, Y, and Z are going to be these, and so we're going to hash X, Y, and Z. We're going to XOR those and return the result, right? So result, hash entities manager by type guy, monster, artifact, what else? Well, we could look at the types. Oh, rock for sure. We only really care about stuff that's probably going to change. Mirror. Light. Switches probably don't usually move. I'm not going to worry about these. Gates, whether they're open or closed, probably matters. Gem. So we're going to do, for some entity types, like guy, we care a lot if they're dead or alive, and that's not handled by hash entities. And for gates, we care a lot if they're open or closed, and that's not handled by hash entities. We'll do a second pass that hashes in that stuff. But for now, we're not going to worry about it. Rover. Okay, that's probably enough. So we do all this stuff, and we get a hash. No, the effective martial arts debate is not a good Twitter argument. It's a terrible Twitter argument. Oh my God. It's terrible. And it's mostly engaged in by people who don't know anything about martial arts in the first place, so it's completely worthless. All right. Well, I don't know where we're at here. Oh, I'm using arrows because I'm stupid and I think this is C++. All right. Physical position. You know what? Just position. E, well, A dot, A dot. How many mistakes can I make in one line? Okay, so now, in theory, we're computing the hashes, we're saving them out, and we should also correctly parse. Okay, let's go to a level. Like this is a junk level. I forget even what it's called. It's called Be Fruitful. So I'm going to record a gameplay thing here, and we're just gonna see what happens. It is reports. There we go. Recording saved. Now, let's go look at the file. Okay, version 3. Undo depth 0, hash blah, undo depth, hash. All right. That all looks reasonable, doesn't it? Oh, I forgot. Okay, hold on. I forgot. Oh no, I didn't forget the thing about writing the correct ID. It should be right. Well, let me go back there. Reset and test. Failed to parse test file. Okay. Okay. Why? Error in line 4, unable to read undo depth and hash. Interesting. Let's go to, let's put, I just want to put this first and we'll just boot right into it so we can focus on what we're doing. Okay, so unable to read undo depth and hash. Just see what happens there. Failed to parse test file. Hash line 1624. That's not right. That's one too far. What's going on? Oh. Right, I remember I said let's make the ID line be first always. And then I didn't when we save it out. That's bad news. There we go. So now though, since we saved it in a gimped way, I gotta gotta do things differently. Oh, I forgot to record. I was like, okay, recording started. Recording saved. All right. Test it. All right, we loaded. We loaded the new format. Okay, well, let's make sure we didn't break the old format. Test. This is in the old format, obviously, because we haven't saved anything else in the new format. And that's fine, too. So we're backward compatible correctly. Great. Who is making the 3D models for Sokoban? A couple of people. Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna since this guy won't drop the martial arts thing. Okay. I'm gonna go there. So something like the UFC, for example, right, is very good in one sense, that it's a test of reality, right? Like everybody thinks, oh, my way of doing things is better than yours or whatever, right? And it provides a place where those people compete and are required to get better, to, respond to each other's relative advantages and that sort of thing. And that's good. The thing you have to realize is that any situation like that, though, is it's not, so the UFC is not a test of, like, for example, what fighting style is absolutely the best in the entire world in every situation, right? It might be that whatever wins in the UFC is also the best thing in general life, but it might not. And in fact, there's plenty of reason to believe it isn't, right? Because UFC rule set is a very specific thing under which many, many things are disallowed, and that sets it sets the contour for competition, right? The rule set determines what is effective. So for example, so not talking about Tai Chi, just talking about something simpler like Kung Fu, when I trained in Kung Fu, we learned several initial things to try, right? The first thing you do, guy comes at you trying to punch you, you break his arm. Second thing you do, gouge his eyes out, right? If you're able to punch somebody in the head, it's not that big of a difference between punching somebody and getting your fingers in their eyes, right? Okay? So two of the most basic things that we learn in Kung Fu that we would do instantly are illegal, right? And you want them to be illegal because if you have a fighting tournament where people are doing that stuff all the time, everybody is going to be just crippled and nobody's going to want to fight in that tournament, right? So I'm not saying that any of this is bad. I'm saying that it doesn't actually tell you that much about the general landscape of what techniques are applicable broadly speaking, okay? And this is not just about fighting, this is about everything, right? So programming competitions don't, the techniques that win in programming competitions are not necessarily the techniques that you want to use to program every day, right? Same thing, different thing, same thing. So, yeah. So I'll give you an example, right? So, jiu-jitsu is really popular in the UFC, and there's all this, like, grab a guy, bring him down to the ground, choke him into submission or something. That's fine, right? But it's very easy to imagine situations not as regulated as the UFC, in which that's a terrible idea, right? For example, you're in a bar and you're fighting with some unknown number of people, more than one, right? So you grab one of them, you take him down to the ground, and his friend instantly kicks you in the head with a steel-toed boot, and now you have brain damage, right? That style that works very well in the UFC is not appropriate to this other context that is not the UFC. So that's all that I have to say on that. I'm not going to get into any. I'm not going to get into any rants about what is actually the best, because honestly speaking, I don't know, and I doubt that anyone on this chat actually knows. I just wanted to put forth that observation, and it's an observation that people interested in game design should understand very clearly, which is that rule sets shape success, right? That's what they do. That's what they're for. So that's all that I have to say about that. What do I think of adventure games nowadays? I love those games, but there's a lot of downtime when you cannot figure out the next puzzle. Is there something you would add to the classic point and click genre, or is it just dead? Well, The Witness kind of is my take on the classic point and click genre. When it comes to those games that are more classically in that mold, I don't feel like there are very many designers really trying to solve the obvious problems. I think they mostly make those games nostalgically, and very few people are actually trying to push them forward in a meaningful way. All right. All right. What am I doing? Fighting rant made me forget everything else in my brain. All right. So we managed to load our file. So the next step is to start checking the checksum. However, to do that, I realized it's probably advantageous to put the checksum in a different place. getting cold already. It's just 4 p.m. on Sunday. Why is it getting cold? All right. Yeah, I might go to hot tea soon. I'm still on the iced tea right now. Okay. What is even going on? Right. So I have these hashes. Now the thing is, what I realized is the following. Well, no, let's do it. Let's do it. I think I'm going to want to move the place where these hashes are stored into the general buffered move data structure that the game uses, as opposed to the stuff that the testing uses. But maybe I don't need to do that yet. Maybe we can just try it out. So here where we say enact move, well, first, actually, before I do anything, let me go and look at what's in simulate. Okay, so test log current move. So we log the move before we do anything to make the move happen, which I think is the right thing. Because you could imagine taking the checksum before every move or after every move. We're doing it before. So, I mean, we could do both if we were getting fancy, but that's implicit. You know, if everything's working well, the checksum after that move should be the one before the next move, so it's redundant. All right, so we're going to log the current move, right? We do this stuff. So here when we say enact move, we can say desired undo depth is, current undo depth is manager undo handler undo records count. Current hash is get gameplay hash manager, and we want these to be equal. I could almost guarantee you that probably both of these are wrong right now, but that's why we're doing this relatively strict thing. Is equal to is it called move dot undo depth. These are colon equals assert current I sort of did this in the opposite order. Let's do it in parallel construction here. Okay, there's no way that's going to work. Let me say that. Oh, also, we have to only do this if we're at version 3 or above, because our older hashes are 0. And in fact, if we ever change the hash, we need to do something even more fancy. All right, let's watch this fail. Oh my God, it's working. Really? What? Okay, I have to print these out. I just don't believe this. Maybe it's right. Things like that just don't work the first time, but they do. They do. Look at that. Okay, wait. No? Yeah, it's fine. I believe it's fine. All right, well, I guess we go back and re-record some of the levels, especially the ones that are failing, and then if they start to fail at with these hashes in, then we'll have more ideas. Yeah, this is not unit testing. No, this is not unit testing. I mean, print statements are my version of unit testing, right? And then, as I always say, I get rid of them. All right. So heroes, let's look at the list of failed tests. They're right here. 212, 221, 24. 24 failed, really. Why all in 2? That's where people can die, I guess. This one failed, really? Oh. Yeah, something, okay. Something happened. See how he like died and kept going? This is good because it's a much simpler and shorter level. So to watch this playback is good. So it's like, oh, he died right there. How is he moving while still alive? It's like the undo didn't. The undo didn't make him alive again. Okay, wait, if I play this, if I undo, oh, what? Okay, so the problem is that I can move when dead. That's the problem. Look at that, I moved twice when dead. Oh, this is so jacked. Okay, so that should be pretty easy to fix. Look at that. All right. So let's start in Heroes 2. I should really put this in a variables file so I don't have to recompile every time. All right, so we're here. Oh. All right. So when I'm getting the clones, remember when I said I'm calling get clones and I'm not going to filter guys out of that if they're dead? I probably should. Here's what I'm going to do. Can be dead, false. If it got dead and can be dead, continue. All right. So then the reason we didn't want dead guys is because we wanted to be able to wiggle them. Where was that? Was that in Sokoban? Wiggle. No. Sim. Wiggle. Okay. Can be dead is true. All right. Hey, look. That seems to have fixed that. Well, let's see if unable to find 1-23. Yeah, does his... Let's look at the test. Heroes 2, 4. Is our undo giving us a different... Oh no, it's like while... Let's see. So while he's dead, obviously we didn't find a 1.0. But we shouldn't be trying to do that to do an undo. Oh wait, I have a move. I'm trying to go in Y. Okay. There we go. There we go. So, what other ones were failing? 212. I think this is 212, right? Yep, 212. Well, let's try it. All right. 21. Is that this one? That's not, oh, that's 22. 21. Oh yeah, this one. This is the one where the guy was ending up dead at the end of the level. Oh, that's fixed. All right. You know what time it's going to be soon. 3:12. This one? Yeah. Okay. Druid Isles, which was... this one. No, this one. All right, that's a fail. But this one I'm not surprised because it's before. This one would have taxed a lot of the things that we just changed. So let me just look at it. 119, 133. Yeah. So there should never, according to the new policy of keeping your turn ID the same, there should not ever be more than 2 IDs here, and there are more than 4. So we have to re-record this one. So let's go. I'm going to give myself some sound. It's a little bit of a long level, so I'm going to give myself some sound and play through it, and here we go. And then after I record it, I'll go look at the file and make sure that there's not duplicate names. Why is it? Okay, recording started. Oh, we're broken already. I'm not able to switch to this character. I thought I fixed all this stuff. Okay, so... That's weird. So I'm gonna have to debug that. Yeah, I was gonna say let's check in first, but let's just, while we have this running, attached to the process. Debug attached to process. Game sounds are quite loud. Okay, we'll turn it down. I know this new OBS, it's very confusing to me. It says game sounds are at minus 2.7. Oh no, that's my mic. It says desktop is at 0 decibels. What if I just turn my mic up to 0 decibels? Okay. I'll turn the mic up and the game sound down. All right. So, well, we break and switch heroes. Why is there only one hero? Manager turn order does have 2 slots. Active hero index was 0, now it's 1. Wait, what? This is not. I must have, yeah. Obviously, we're not trying to find that ID. That's dumb. We know the guy can go away. We're going to say clones is get clones of, right? If no clones, continue. And we're just going to leave it at that. Well, okay. Any alive is false. For clones, if it dot type entity type if something like that. All right. Well, that's working for there. Let's see if it works for this funky level. All right. Okay, I can control this guy now, which I couldn't a second ago. His animations are gimpy still, but we'll figure that out later. All right. I keep confusing my character switch key and my other. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's fine. I think, oh no. Oh, yeah, this should be okay. I think I can just do this. Oh, I didn't record it. I hope somebody said, why aren't you recording it? Was Steven's sausage roll an inspiration for this game? Mildly, but really, the majority of this game is built upon work that other game designers have done explicitly. So there's a little bit of sausage roll inspiration in a couple of the levels that I've done, but that's not what you're seeing here. This is just like straight up, here is a Sokoban and here are Isles. Whoops. Oh God, I just ruined it. Okay, there's still a bug that I haven't fixed about falling stuff messing up the undo. So when I push that mirror into the water, that'll be next on the list. It's just I want to get a full test pass before we go there. So I just have to be diligent about what I'm doing here. Oh, I almost did it again. Okay, now this one goes there, there. Use that one to get across. And then that one down and go. Recording saved. All right. Playback, bro. Succeed. So that is all the ones that, as far as we know, were failing. So you know what time it is now. How are the desktop sounds? Game sounds still way too loud. All right, I'm going to turn them down more. Before the next step, we need to make sure that game sounds are the right volume. Okay, minus 10 decibels. I don't know how much that is. How's this? Is this an appropriate volume? Loud still. Some people are saying good. I need a vote. Perfect, perfect, much better. That's reasonable. Okay. Enough people say it's good. All right, well, we're going to commit. Undo system has hashes. Update tests. Now, we're just going to see what happens here. You guys know what's next. Those of you guys who have seen a few streams know exactly what's going to happen now. So right. I didn't see any fails. 109 levels succeeded, no failures. Whew. This is the new Go Bananas. It's true. When can you play the game? I don't know. A long time from now. Did The Witness have gameplay tests like this? No, it didn't. Will this have an overworld level system like Steven's Sausage Roll? Not that much like Steven's Sausage Roll. It will have an overworld, but it'll be structured kind of differently. Are there any aspects of the game right now that rely upon it being 3D? Yes, of course. How many levels are we going to ship with? I don't know. So first of all, you did not see everything that's in the game right now. There's a substantial portion of what's in the game right now that is not yet testable because those levels have timed elements and we don't correctly handle timed elements yet. That might be a thing to start later today. But then aside from that, we also have to make a bunch of new levels. So I would imagine we're going to have at least 100 new levels. And then the amount of stuff that's in the game that you didn't just see in that replay is probably another 106 levels, right? So what you just saw is probably about half of what's in there right now by content, or a little less. So I would think there's going to be at least 300 levels, but that's not a promise, and that's counting some of the gianter game modes as many levels put together. You mean gameplay-wise? Yes. We showed some levels that require 3D. The stuff where you try to make the fog is the overworld for the game. No, we didn't show the overworld there. The overworld is nothing. It's not built yet. I don't know what you mean by stuff where you try to make the fog. Do you mean the programming streams a long time ago? That's for one of the game modes, but it's not for the overworld. What has been the total development time? I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, so, I mean, I can show you right away one of the levels that's 3D. This one right here. Right, this level requires me to like stack blocks in a certain way, right? Because I have to get one of these blocks over the monster. And the only way I can do that is by piling a too high thing and then pushing this over its head, right? So that's a very simple requirement for 3D, but of course, I'm not stopping there, right? How long do I think will the average playtime be? I have no idea. A long time. Probably more playtime than The Witness, if I were to guess. Like, I mean, Promise 2 and Promise 3 are at least 6 hours each. Let's call Skipping Stone 6 hours. That's 24 hours. Mirror Isles, let's call 3 hours. I don't know. Maybe if you're good at puzzles, 3 hours, 27. Heroes of Sokoban, 30. So, there's probably about 30 hours of gameplay just in the games that we're straight up uh, reproducing. Um, so, I mean, and we're going to add a lot more. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to add a lot more. Yeah, so that effect was for one of the game modes, but it's not the overworld. That fog effect is for something else. Can the game have time run faster than 8x? Yeah, it's just at some point. So this is 64x. It's just at some point it's not in reality that fast because the frame rate is probably not high enough. Like, you know, well, I don't know. I mean, obviously to go at 100x speed, you need to have been going at least, um, well, I don't know. It's complicated. Do I need new contributors at this stage? Right now, not yet, but at some point we'll open to contributions. Um, there is a Yeah, exactly. I'm not as worried about spoilers on this game as I was with The Witness, although definitely there's some things that are secrets uh, that won't be known until this game is released for sure. No, this isn't the final art direction. No. Most of we're working on the art for the game, and most of what we're working on is not in. This is just temporary art to enable us to build levels and stuff. The game's going to look way better than this. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How are we going to ship it with OpenGL? Unknown. Unknown at this time. How is this game's frame rate independence right now? It is fine. Frame rate independence on this game is very easy because it's a turn-based game. So there's no real physics to speak of exactly. I guess there's a little bit in complex situations, but it's really it's not like Braid where it's hard to deal with. How do we handle balancing the difficulty? Is it just by playing and feeling? Um, well, we haven't gotten to that part yet. So I imagine what we're going to do is design a bunch of new levels, and then we'll just figure out how to package them together, probably by what they're about or what they're like. And then there's going to be an element that's like The Witness, where you open up new areas or modules of this game as you go on. Um, but you don't have to go through them linearly, right? So if you get stuck in one, you can go to another one and so forth. And maybe even within a module, we'll let you skip around. It's unclear. And so once you do that, you don't have to worry that much about balancing the difficulty because it's good to have really hard stuff in a game, I think. You don't want to take out hard stuff. You just want to enable it so that people who are stuck and can't figure out the hard stuff right now have other things to do, right? You don't want to block them. How many hours a day do I work? I don't know. It varies from time to time. I don't know. Not as much as I could, that's for sure. Okay, that's fixed. That's fixed. I've got some simple things to do today. Oh, let me make that hash failure not be an assert. Okay, so if current undo depth is not equal to move dot undo depth, error string tprint failure undo depth doesn't match. Error, let's call it error so we can search for the word error. So we're going to both put this on the screen. Wanted got whatever. Move dot undo depth current undo depth. Game report error string log print test error string, well, new line error string signal test failure, and do we just return out of here? Yeah, return. Okay, so same with gameplay hash. Okay, it's just really quick. What was one of the levels that we had hashed? Druid Isles, right? So just make sure that we could play that back. We won't do the full Benny Hill on this because it takes like 10 minutes. I guess I'm going to have to speed it up faster than 8x eventually because it just takes so long. I don't know how long it takes now, but it's at least 5 minutes, right, to go through all that. All right. So that's good. I have some more boring stuff on my list. I mean, it's not boring, but it's like, hey, stuff to take care of. So for example, when you push a mirror, there's no sound. We should put a sound in for that. When you transmute stone, there's no sound. Hitting control, and then there's some editor stuff like parsing. So I think we're going to do some smaller things. I'm going to take a short break, like 5 minutes. I'm getting cold. I'm going to get some more clothing. I'm going to warm up some tea. And then we'll do a bunch of small things because I want to get the to-do lists under control. So the current state of the to-do list is we're now on 3 pieces of paper. Most of this one is gone. It's only a couple items. A lot of this one is crossed out. But not that much of this one is crossed out. So if I put all this together, it's still a double-sided page of this size. So I want to try to knock a few of these off before I rewrite the to-do list. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The goal is, by the end of the stream, we rewrite the to-do list. What made me want to build up on pre-existing Sokoban games? I really like the games. They're designed really well, and I got excited about them. Why not let it be an assert and restart the tests at the next level? Because asserts right now kill the process. Asserts like abort the game. They're more serious than that. So I could push a temporary assert function, but like why? I mean, I could do that. I don't know. It's not that useful. Oh, so you mean why not have a test fail on any assert and just have that be a non-critical failure and signal? Yeah, eh, that could be a thing that we do. I mean, if we find asserts going off regularly, well, first of all, that's good because we want asserts to go off so we can fix them. Um, but then secondly, yeah, if it's inconvenient to not be able to run the full test to see who fails a specific assert because it kills the program, we could do that. We could push a temporary assert proc when testing. That would be a thing. Yeah, you don't need a process watching to restart it. So assert is in the context, right? So if you go to so we have this type called assertion failed proc, right? That just takes anything. And, oh, well, the type has changed. And we didn't update it. But I guess we don't need that, strictly speaking. So in the context, which gets passed around everywhere, when you call assert, it basically just formats some string and passes it here. And this could be print a standard out, it could be pop up a message box or whatever, right? Runtime support assertion failed is what actually kills the process. So you could replace this just by poking into the context some procedure that does something else. And then you don't need to restart the process because the process isn't going to exit. I mean, maybe the assertion is asserting on something so serious that you're going to crash anyway, in which case, yeah, you would want to restart the process, I guess. I don't know. Are we having different clocks running for the edit world and the game mode? Yes. Yes. All right, 5-minute break. When we come back, we will do many small tasks, sound effects, etc. Editor stuff, etc. We're going to check off at least 5 items from this to-do list, possibly more. Possibly more. Possibly 6 or more. That'll be great. That'll be great. Okay. All right, back in a bit. I'll spare you the sound of my tea boiling. Hello, everybody, again. I don't remember where I got that lamp, but it was somewhere dumb, like Crate and Barrel or somewhere like that. I don't know. Wouldn't writing a simple to-do tracking software pay off? What would the to-do tracking software do? Like, I could type some lines into a file, but I don't even do that, right? I just write it on a piece of paper because I like the paper better. I don't know. Where does the syntactic rewrite factor into the timeline of the language? Would that be before the closed release? No, it won't be before the initial closed release. It'll be a bit later, but I don't know exactly when. In that level where you push a block to kill an enemy you were showing off earlier, what's stopping you from just walking off to kill that guy instead like you did in the level with the thief? What is stopping you is that this is not obvious because of the animations, but okay, well, first of all, you at least have to be able to get over the guy, right? But the problem is, so you would at least have to do 2 blocks. But the thing is that the fighter can't kill from above. Like, death from above is a skill that the thief only has, right? So the fighter will just get killed by the monster if he tries this. We'll have better animations for that. I gotta fix this undo falling thing. That's bad news. Maybe I should do that before. We'll do the small things, and then we'll do that. It would track to-dos, yeah. No, I like paper. I like crossing things out. Rewriting the to-do list often is a little bit, it may get slightly tedious sometimes, but that's motivation to get a lot of things done so that you don't have to write that many things. You know what I'm saying? This time, if I tackle a lot of things off this piece of paper, then I can just write the remaining items onto this piece of paper. And plus, when you rewrite the same item many times, it's kind of a hint. It's like, okay, dude, you've rewritten this on like 6 pieces of paper. It's starting to be time to do it. Although there's not really that much like this on here. Okay. Does Mirror Isles have monsters? No, it does not. What is the most embarrassing book on that bookshelf behind me? I don't know exactly. You know, sometimes I keep books, like probably Exceptional C++. Oh no, that's in Seattle. Like sometimes I have programming books, not because I think they give good advice, but so that I know what other people are saying is the advice, right? I don't know. What's a pretty embarrassing book? I did not see any embarrassing books, actually. They're all fine. Yep. There's really nothing bad here. I got rid of recently about as many books as are here, though. So maybe I got rid of all the embarrassing books. Is exceptional C++ actually good, or am I making fun of it? No, it is not good. That was my point. I bought exceptional C++ in order to understand the cases that were being made for why and how you should use exceptions. I disagree with it, but in order to disagree in an educated way, you need to at least expose yourself to it. Am I think lunch? Yeah. I've talked a lot about launching the language in its previous stream, like for an hour, so you can go look that up. I'm not inclined to repeat it too much here. Yeah, it will be public, it will be free, and I guess about a month ago, more than that now, I sort of gave a vague timeline for it. Yeah, it's just, a lot of things still need to be decided. There we go. Status update January 2018. Thank you for linking that. So my assumption going back a long time ago was that it would be open source in the traditional way. Conversations with a few people lately convinced me that that's not important initially. So I think initially people will get source, but not really have redistribution rights. And then later, as the language solidifies, we'll open that up, like rights to make derivative works and stuff. But I think initially it's just more about being able to have the source so you know what's going on. Wow, I wonder what Andre Lamothe is doing these days. There was some time around like the early to mid 2000s when I would see him at game conferences and stuff. And in fact, he ran a little game conference for a couple of years. I don't know where he's at now. He seemed like a cool guy. Like, he was nice to me when I came to his conference both times, and yeah, I don't know. Okay, I want to do 2 sound effects. Converting something to stone, converting something to a block, and pushing a mirror. And as I usually do, I'm going to try to just scavenge these from games. Except I don't have Braid on here. Oh, geez, and I don't remember my password. I have hardly anything on this computer because it's a new computer. Let's see what we have for sounds. Oh, God, Windows, you're terrible. Customize. General items. Where's the checkbox that says never change this for any folder on my entire operating system ever? All right. I can probably whip out Goldwave and like, oh, we have some sounds from Invaders in here and stuff. This is great. That's no good. I can just like process one of these. Maybe. I don't have that many sounds here. I don't think BFXR generates sound effects that I like very much. Well, I mean, I have this whole, let me see. I have a whole sound effects library that I bought, but I don't know if I have it on Dropbox or anything. I don't think so. I don't know where that went, the whole thing. Oh. I'm finding some stuff. Not necessarily relevant, but here we go. I had this set to be my ringtone for a long time. Yeah, the teleport sound is irritating. If you guys don't recognize this music, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. All right. Let's bust out Goldwave. Let's make the teleport sounds less annoying. Which maybe we could do. That's not it. What's it called? Teleport? What's it called? I just clicked on it and now, oh, there we go. Teleport. All right. Yeah, I mean it's annoying because it's this really hard clip here. Like, look at that. Look at that waveform, dude. So we could low pass filter it a little bit. Like, we just take the harshness out. That's not, this isn't going to turn it into a good sound effect, but like it'll make it less annoying. All right, so now let's try that out in the game. Yeah, that's less. It's still not like great, but yes, it's from 1001 Spikes. You know what I want to know? I want to see if someone will sell me a game sound effects library. I don't want free game sounds. I want to buy some sound. Game Burp? Why would I buy a sound from a place called Game Burp? This is already terrible. Their music, their synthy music is covering everything, so I can't tell. Okay. I'm a little bit oh, I can't try these out. Well, I'll leave this in a tab, but it does, this Game Burp does not seem promising. I mean, I guess they're playing the music over the other sounds, so you can't just clip the sounds out, but how much do they want for this? 39 bucks. That's not much. All right. Oh, sound ideas.
The Hollywood Edge presents Game Effects. With over 800 video game-inspired sound effects, Game Effects, field recordings.
That doesn't sound like anyone who knows about video games. Ancient game pack? What does that even mean? Why are these sites all so slow? Are they all hosted at the same fucking place? Crafting. Man, these have so much reverb. God, there's so damn much reverb. You can't... When they have that much reverb baked into stuff, you can't use it. Maybe it's not actually verb in the source effect. Monster voice. Yeah, the music is annoying. $49? I'll add that to my cart. let's go back and see some other ones. Advanced game. I want to make an advanced game. That sounds very advanced. That's too advanced for me. Okay, that's too advanced. Funny comedy cartoon ambient game? What? Is this just a joke site? Like, what the? I almost want to buy these, except the site is so bad. So much reverb. Alright, we're adding that to our cart. Did I get the other one? Yeah, I've got 2 things in my cart now. Fell Flame, as if I'm supposed to know what that is. Elemental. Fine, add that to my cart. Now I gotta get my credit card. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. I hope these are all downloads. Like RPG magic sound effects. Yeah, let's get that. Add to cart. I don't even need to hear it. All right, proceed to checkout. I better be able to download at least some of these. No, I don't want your newsletter. All right, I clicked place order. It's just sitting there. Yeah, so to be clear, these are not sound effects that I at all intend to use in the shipping game. The only purpose of this is for me to rough draft stuff out. Like, we'll have an actual sound person work on this later, right? The whole reason I'm doing this stuff is just so that today I can just get a little closer to something reasonable. They keep trying to get me to sign up for PayPal. No! Just don't log me in. Just charge the card. Charge the card. Let me buy the thing that I'm trying to pay you for. All right. You've completed your payment. Now let's see if they actually let me download anything. I don't want to download my invoice. How do I... Okay, well, it didn't give me a download link. It sure as hell had better send me an email within like 10 seconds. Download your files. Okay. Ancient game. "24-bit sound effects." Woohoo. Ancient game. All right. Fantasy game. Oh, I clicked the 24-bit accidentally. Fantasy game, 16-bit. Soundmorph Elemental. RPG Magic. All right. Show in folder. I'm going to make a new folder called Downloaded Sounds. And when these all show up, sorry, this place's whole business model is selling you files to download, and their file transfer is super slow. All right. Fantasy game, ancient game, RPG Magic. We need one more. The Soundmorph Elemental is taking forever, so we won't wait for that. It's probably being downloaded from a different place. All right, so bye Game Burp. You didn't make the sale. All right, let's try some RPG Magic. Let's see what these sound like. Well, I want spells because I'm transmuting stone to block and whatever. Yeah, these are woefully inappropriate. Oh my god. These all sound like casual game sound effects. These are not RPG sound effects. Could you people see what I have to deal with here? These are all way too long for one thing. Why are these variants of the same effect and they're totally different? Okay, whoever made that is not a professional game developer. But I think that's probably going to be true for any of these. Let's try Fantasy Game. I'd like to return these waves. It's true. BFXR, like everything that it makes, sounds the same. Maybe I just haven't heard people use it well. That's actually, I wouldn't mind making a sound effect generation program sometime. That would be fun. All right, Fantasy Game. MacOS. Oh God. Fantasy Game. Items. These sound a lot like the previous set of... Okay, some of these are more reasonable. Okay, these you can kind of work with a little bit. Well, some of them. So much fucking reverb. Whoever is selling these sound effects to people and pours on all this reverb, like, doesn't understand making video games. You want no reverb. You want a dry sound effect because you want to be able to mix it in with other things, and you can put the reverb on yourself. Game might even have dynamic reverb for all you know. And then, like, this sounds terrible because, like, the tail is cut. Like, I guess they did that to make the effect small, but there's no... On, like, metal that's clanging, you actually want that reverb because it's part of the physical thing that's happening. You just don't want the fake room reverb. All right. Footsteps. Elemental magic. Okay, these already have way more character than the previous set, but I don't know if any of them are going to be usable. What the hell is a fell flame? These are all way too long for this game. I just need to clip something out. Yeah. Yeah, let's... Whenever people make magic sound effects, they're just like not... Okay. These I can work with. All right. All right, so this one is going to be called... No, not delete. This is transmute stone. And this is transmute wood. And we will add those. See, I can't even be picky because it takes so much attention to find anything that you could use at all that, like, getting specific about what I want to use isn't going to happen here. All right. So okay. That's all we wanted to do. All right, so we go to, here's a Sokoban 3. I could have gone to Druid Isles. Oh. That's all we wanted to do. We just wanted a sound effect. Didn't have to be perfect. Just had to be something. See how that just gives it a little more character? I think the reason the teleport sound is annoying on that level especially is because we play it twice when we clone the guy, and really one of the times should be offset a little bit. Couldn't the manager be a global variable? It's not a good idea to have it be a global variable. It could be in the context, though. It can certainly be in the context. Yeah, maybe we'll replace the teleport sound completely. But I get to check this off the to-do list. I get to say, transmuting makes sounds now. That is great. That is great. It always takes longer than I think to try and deal with sound effects, but that's fine. Okay, audio for transmute. That is crossed off. I had audio for at least one other thing. What is it? Pushing a mirror. Maybe I should like mix a push sound with like a ringing. I bet one of these magic effects will have some kind of like a magical ringing sound. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go back to elemental magic. Almost could do something with that. I just want something clear that I can mix. So much reverb on that cork pop. Like how are you gonna? I wish I could just have the background of this one without the rest of the crap. I kind of could almost imagine an effect like this. Like a loop like that when you're in front of the mirror. Well, let me just try something. So I'm going to go into Goldwave. I'm going to go into the Sokoban sounds that already are here. I close the teleport. Push block. Right. I'm just going to try, this is a weird idea, but wait, was it this one? Yeah. These sounds don't really go together, but all right. Mix. I don't know what that did, but yeah. Can't undo the mix. What? Oh, let's close that. Get it back. All right, so first, let's get rid of the attack, or the pre-attack. Oops. What the hell just happened? Why am I not? Oh, I see. I was super zoomed in. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to mix. 25%. That's too much. I just want it to be barely there, 10%. %. Huh. 10%. Oh, I guess I did it. All right, and then starting here, well, let's trim it, and then this is going to be a crappy effect, whatever. Right, and then let's, yeah, it's mixed in too much. Let's do this. If I were using a real audio editing program, well, professional grade, this would be a lot easier, but I don't have Pro Tools or anything. Fade out. I should make a Pro Tools equivalent. That's what I should make. All right. Let's filter. Let's low pass it a little bit, and then we'll flange it. Yeah, this is going to be a pretty bad effect, but whatever. All right, this is going to be good enough for now. It's not a very good effect. Push, mirror. All right. Push, lock. These will be quieter than a block. All right. Let's do that. It's less annoying for sure. I'm okay with this sound. It's, you know, it's not the greatest sound in the world, but like I said, really we just want placeholders for now, so we can do it for real. I mean, really you want it to sound different when you're pushing it across a rock than across the sand and so forth. All right. Pushing a mirror makes a sound. It would probably get on your nerves less in the replays if you sped up the decay. I mean, we could do that for pushable. I don't know. Save that. Reaper has 99% of everything at this point. I haven't used that. Okay. Well, that's another thing we can cross off. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's right there. Looking right at it. All right, that's 2. We promised at least 5. Okay, let's do the 2 off the end here. One of them is an editor thing. So if I run the editor, it didn't parse IDs correctly. Oh, this isn't using the right ID also. But here I want to say like 115. And that didn't parse it, right? It parsed that as an integer. Okay, so first of all, oh wait, entity panel. Huh, funny, weird. Okay. Oh. I see. Essay? I don't know. Wait, we pass a string? I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, whatever. Okay, so now we switch to dashes. So now I have to parse with dashes. So so if it's an entity ID, well, we have this parse parse ID string. So let's simplify that. All right, so here, 115, boom, baby, and then I can, if I put 115 here, so it's different, I should be able, yep, I can right-click to select that guy, right? So that, you can right-click on any ID slot to select the actual entity. So there we go. This guy, well, that's 1155. And this is 1153. So I can just keep right-clicking to cycle through the guys now. Okay, that works. Let's get rid of Goldwave. Bye, Goldwave. Bobcat Goldwave. Fantasy game 16-bit. Editor parses entity IDs with dashes in them. That is 3 out of 5. At least, maybe 6. Okay. The next thing is there's this problem where, oh, well, I need to be on a multi-character level. Oops. See, we've got this new animation for when you go to an exit square. And we pop you out of it under some cases. Wait, why is he not in it? That's weird. It's not happening anymore, maybe. I don't know. Let's get rid of these weirdos. Oh, maybe it breaks out of it when you turn. Let's go to... Okay. So if I go here, yeah, he's just kind of skating. On that animation. So, well, I just have to send a message to the state machine. I'm not on exit. Okay, so when I give an order to move, yeah. Huh. Let me look at the graph. All right. Nope, he still skates. Okay. Okay. Message, stop exiting. So I'm going to make a new animation message called, wait, no. What the fuck? Holy shit, dude. All right. All right. So, can I talk about how passing messages to the state machine is different from other object-oriented run-amok situations? I mean, what? How is it the same as the? This is nothing like those, really. There's a graph. When I say pass a message, I'm just giving the graph a way to decide which next node to transition onto. It's first of all an extremely constrained model. It's not like object-oriented code that can do anything. But secondly, I mean, just because I say something is called passing a message doesn't make it more or less like anything object-oriented. You might as well say call a procedure or something, right? It's like the same thing. Okay. So when we choose to move, well, where do I send the exit message? Where do I send the on exit? Seems like a reasonable place to also send I mean, maybe that's overkill. Maybe I should only send that message if you were exiting, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to constrain that right now. What the hell? Okay. How do I output something? Active to exit left and inactive. There is no, what? State walking to exit left. I swear I put one. Message stop exiting. What are you talking about? Did we just not reload the animation graph? Oh. What the fuck? Oh, right, exit to active. So what does state on exit do? Exit to active is just going to be state active. All right. So it didn't put those nodes. It didn't put those nodes because they didn't make any sense. Hey, look, I'm not skating anymore. Exactly. It should be state walking. All right. All right, well, we can deal with the sliding over it later. Like on the one square that we're going into the exit animation, we probably want to do something better than that, but this is vastly better than what we had, and it solves the problem, and it was the last thing on this page. Remove skating across exits. Nobody's going to have any idea what the hell that means except Tim. Okay, and Tim won't read that message. PUBG memory leak. All right. I feel like I've got one or two more things in me. Then maybe I want to do a stream break. Maybe later tonight we'll work on the mirror reflections and stuff. I kind of feel like I want to hit that. Oh, let's do another editor one. When we're in a text input in the editor, I want Control A to highlight everything, right? So here, if I hit this and I do this, I want to hit Control A and be able to copy it, but I can't. I have to do this right now, right? Same as here, I want to be able to hit Control A to select all and not this. Oh, look. Can I drag stuff through the console? No, I guess not. All right, well, I got to put that down. Editor, select, click, through, console. What up with that? Okay. Control A for text field. Where is selection defined? Well, all right, if it's A, wow, we did this before. Yeah. Equals 0 selection.end character equals I don't know. How do I know? Right, text. All right, so select this, there, Control A. Ooh, okay, apparently the end character is one more past what I wanted. Control A, Control A, okay, it's not crashing, that's good. Copy that, we'll paste it into this field. Yeah, all right. Let's make sure that works in the console. Yep. Great. That's like number 5. While we're on editor stuff, I guess I got to deal with this selection clicking through the console. I could fix that by just not letting you click when the console is open, but I think if you click below the console, we should accept it. Oh, this would be a good one to do today. Like not during this stream, but later tonight maybe. You know, I'm really happy with the progress from this week. I mean, come on. We've got this. What do you want, right? It's been a good week. That's all I'm saying. Wow, we sure spammed stop exiting messages. Whatever. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so All right, so now in Entity Panel, we want to say when we check left pressed, I don't know if this is exactly the right way to handle it, but it's what we're trying. Uh-oh. Right, because we grabbed these. That's an old bug that we got to fix. All right, so all we're trying to do is, hey, it's not selecting the level. Now it is. Ah, okay, we're not testing, we're just testing this part of the console. We're not getting the text field. The text field. Okay. Get input was, all right, so if include text field, else. So we either get the bottom of the input field or the top. Oh, I don't have input y0. It's just input y0. Oh, get console bottom. Whoops. That. All right. Load. Boom. Whoops. Well, okay, that's fine. What? Oh, because I didn't set that from the other place. There we go. All right, great. It's not doing it. Now it is. All right. Okay, I think it's about time for me to take a break between streams, but let's do some question and answers while I order some Uber Eats. So Q&A, send question. All right, any questions? Any questions? Custom brown rice bowl. Oh wait, there's no beef? What? Yes, that's the number one question I get is when is the compiler going to get released? Number one. I want some protein. Do I have any tips for designing puzzles? Well, we had an entire speech that I will link you now. This one is the most that we have ever said about how to design good puzzles. All right. Got some food on the way. Need to get a new office chair. Any recommendations? Not this one that I'm using right now. It's pretty terrible. There was one, the one I have in Seattle. I forget the name of it, but it's by the people who do the Aeron chair, but it's a different chair. It's like a taller. It's a Herman Miller something. Let me look. Let me see. I think it's the Herman Miller Embody chair. Yeah, I was liking that. I don't know if I'm going to ship it or if it would be less expensive just to get a new one back down here in San Francisco. Have I tried Vulkan in a real application? No, I have not. I've never used Vulkan. Will the app launcher be on hiatus for now? Well, I'm not working on it very rapidly. I've got higher priority tasks, but I plan to replace the Braid launcher with that launcher. So it'll get developed into a full thing for sure. I can only do so many things at once. You saw all the things we did this week. I mean, geez, we made all this happen. How am I supposed to work on the app launcher while all this is happening? I mean, honestly, what do you want from me? You're making your first game in C++. What format do you recommend for storing data such as NPC data, dialogues, quest info, etc.? Just make the simplest structs that you can that hold the information that you need. Don't get fancy. Don't do inheritance unless you absolutely need it. Don't do entity component structure at all. Don't do any of these things. Just put the information in structs. Mr. Fourth Dimension. I have a totally new question for you. Ready? When will you blah, blah, blah. Sarcasm. Okay. I should have read the sarcasm tag first. Is it just me, or do a lot of horror stealth games have enemies that can't see the beam of your flashlight or only react to you? Is that a technical thing or mostly a design issue? It's mostly a design issue, actually. I think most stealth games are kind of terrible because the design is like the guys can only see 10 feet, even though they obviously should be able to see you. And it's just something where people just haven't worked hard enough on that game design to know how to make it interesting and playable and fun if the guards in the stealth game actually could see everything that they should be able to see. Teaching high school computer science at the moment, what were some topics, activities you enjoyed as a kid? I don't remember my high school computer science class that well. We only had one of them, and it was in like 1988. So it was 30 years ago. I don't know. I don't remember. And it's probably pretty different, honestly. Classes today are probably very different from classes 30 years ago, if only because the computers are pretty different. So I don't know what to recommend there. I'm going to skip the Phantom Thread movie question. It's a little too off topic. Have I ever used Audacity? No, I haven't. The program I was using before, well, I've used Audacity for like trivial stuff, but I've never tried to do anything in it. The program I was using before is called Goldwave, and it's a relatively cheap, no frills audio editing software. I wouldn't recommend it for like professional level work. If only because the paradigm is not great, right? Like if you saw the way I was editing, you like keep doing all these irreversible operations to your sound, which is not what you want, right? You want to have a source sound, and then you want to layer on the operations, and you want to be able to turn them up or down later in any order, or change the parameters. You want non-destructive editing, and that is not what that program gives you. Will you sometime in the future make a sequel to that talk with Mark ten Bosch with examples how to explore the phase space and how to actively fine-tune the sense of what a game is really about beyond mechanics, maybe after game 3? Maybe. I mean, sometimes you got to wait until you know what you would say. And right now I'm not sure what I would say. Gaming chair. I've never tried to use gaming chairs, so I don't know what to say about those. Any particular format I recommend for the text files? I'm using XML for now because it was easy to set up a library for parsing. I mean, XML is awful because it's not really human readable, and it's tedious because you have all these open and close, section thingers. And it's inefficient, most of the verbiage for it is not meaningful, and that takes size and time to parse. The parsers for XML are really slow for some reason, and really bad with memory, and they're huge amounts of code for some reason. Like you lose even so-called tiny XML. How many lines of code is tiny XML? Let me look it up. How many lines of code is tiny XML? I don't even know. Nobody's answering that question. Anyway, more than I would like. So, I mean, that said, if you're just getting off the ground and making your game work for the first time, I don't necessarily recommend you writing your own file format, because that's more stuff for you to do before you have visible results. Unless you find yourself doing so much grunt work just to get XML working that you feel like you'd rather not deal with it, and then you can change. It just pains me that the basic options that are available for like a first-time game programmer to pick up and use are so terrible, right? You should have something good that you can just pick up and use, right? That's how software should be, but it's not. Why is Entity Component System bad? It's just overly complicated. It gets people to put way too much effort into structuring things, and it can, unless you work very hard to make it be efficient, it can be very inefficient. And it's complexity that is simply unnecessary. So I have never used Entity Component System or anything remotely like that in a game. And I've shipped games that a lot of people have played on Steam and PS4 and Xbox and stuff. So like, it's not necessary, clearly. As to whether you would prefer it over something else, well, I don't know. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. But when it comes to entities and stuff, you got to keep in mind that the structure of your entity layout, or just how you access the data, how you find the data and access the data, will impact a great deal of your gameplay code, right? Because your gameplay code is all about what happens to this entity and that entity, and how do these things interact and all that. And the more complicated your entity system is, the more complicated it's going to make all of that code, all of it. So you got to be careful. That's all. You got to be careful. Which Myst version do I recommend to start the series with? Well, many people consider Riven to be the best one. I kind of also liked Myst 5, although that's not necessarily a popular opinion. Myst 5 has this really like you're supposed to do this gesture communication in the game, like you write on a tablet, and it's not that good at recognizing the gestures. But if you get past that, I liked Myst 5, kind of. I mean, I don't remember what Riven was like, and I don't know if it's playable by modern standards, but that's generally considered to be the masterpiece of the series. All right, see you later, John Matthew Wilder. TinyXML is about 5,000 lines of code. Yeah, that's not that tiny. I mean, it's not as bloated as some things, but like 5,000 lines? Switching disks half the time on Riven. Yeah, that's something you probably don't have to do today, thankfully. All right, everyone. I don't know if I'm going to do another stream tonight. I feel like I'm kind of getting sick, so maybe I'll chill and rest. Maybe, though, if I do another stream, it'll probably be the Making the Mirrors More Awesome stream. Right? So, or Fixing the Falling. Or both. We're definitely down onto 2 pages of to-do list because this is gone. This is like half gone. And this is like a quarter to a third gone. So we're just over 1 page again. So I want to just keep hitting this until it goes away. Oh, Sean's here. Hey, Sean. Yeah, so right, so the one thing, whenever I talk about Entity Component System and say it's overly complicated, usually, and I didn't this time because I'm tired, but usually I say the reason to do it is if you want to do a Looking Glass style simulation-y game, then that might be a motivation. I'm not even sure about that, by the way. I'm not sure it's the best way to do it, but it could be a motivation for that. But almost nobody even tries to do that these days, and especially somebody who's sitting down to make their first game and wants to make a simple game, I don't recommend it. But yeah, you could make a case that when you have a lot of programmers, that being able to program using components gives you orthogonality or something. I don't really think that's true, but you could at least make that argument and have at least a somewhat informed rationale for choosing that structure. I just don't think it's a good structure for most small independent game developers especially, and I certainly, like, if it's your game engine's default way of doing things, maybe it's not so good. But there's also the thing that I don't like about componentization like that. I mean, the other thing about Looking Glass is, Looking Glass is from the 90s and early 2000s. I don't remember what year Looking Glass shut down, but we were kind of experimenting with all of these how do you software engineer in a modern way ideas back then. And a lot of things, it's just been globally agreed, didn't pan out. And a lot of things we have a more sophisticated opinion on now than back then, or just because we have more experience. We have 2 decades more experience. So I feel like, and there's a flip side to all these things. So like, hey, there's a component, so somebody can edit a component without anyone else knowing about it, right? Well, the flip side is, yeah, but then nobody else knows about it, and it can be hard to figure out what's going on, or to know why something's happening, or what part of the code to look at that's relevant to something. Which is why I like if statements, right? Like if you have an if statement that says, if we're on fire, then do this, then you see that in the code, and it's not like totally, I don't know. That's my opinion on this 2 decades later. But again, it may not be the right opinion in a large team situation. I don't know. Yeah, so the thing though, I don't know what the implementation of components was at Looking Glass, right? Maybe I would guess that they were just randomly heap allocated because that's how a lot of people do it. Although no, Looking Glass was probably better than that. I don't know. I know other engines that I've seen, they would just like allocate a component on the heap and stuff, right? And if you at least, if you pull them compactly out of an array somewhere, that's going to be better for perf, obviously, right? But it's still going to be not good in other ways. But then computers are pretty fast these days and might make up for a lot of the issues. It says my food will be here in 4 minutes, but I don't think I totally believe that. Yeah, multiple backends, flat arrays or hashes or whatever, depending on sparsity. Yeah, that makes sense. What's the alternative? Most people who say any component is bad don't have any open source code presenting a better solution. Well, for me, so the Witness and Braid and this game that you've seen here all use something simpler, which is just a 2-level hierarchy of structs, where there's one struct for the base entity, and the base entity contains information that most people want, right? It might even have some members on it that some people don't use. But the point is just simplicity, right? So almost everybody at least wants a position. Probably everyone wants a position. Probably everyone wants an orientation. Most people, but maybe not everybody, want to have a mesh. So we put a mesh name on there and so forth, right? So what you would think of as the base class in object-oriented terms is just like what most entities want. And then there's one level below that, which is just like, okay, we decide what needs to be specialized. So like the player class has its own struct, right? And a pick-upable object has its own struct, and a monster has its own struct, and so forth, right? And that's it. And then anything else you need to do, like other code sharing, like maybe monsters and players both want to do some things, but they're different structs. That's fine. You don't need to do that in an object-oriented way. You just call procedures with both of those as arguments. So procedures will make up most of what you need to do, right? The structs are just a way of organizing the information. So I recommend really keeping it simple. Sean's saying the problem is there were tons of separate components per object, and there was a complicated inheritance system that had to traverse when creating objects, right? So maybe a component system that was dialed more in the simplicity and fewer objects direction might have been, or fewer components per object direction might have been good. I don't know. I've never tried it for the reasons I'm just saying, because I prefer to just do structs. I could imagine doing a game design, like if I was trying to do whatever my version of Thief would be in 2019. I don't even know what that would be, but if I were to try to do it, I would at least stop and consider a component design. I probably wouldn't end up with a component design, but I would think about it. You're guessing you have a type field on the base class for specific interactions. Yeah, because people have to have a way of knowing what kind of entity it is. So yes, you need a way to get up to the more specific kind of thing. How do you write a procedure you can call in two structs with different types? Just like that, right? So there's a type tag on the base. And so you take an entity pointer and you can look at that entity pointer and decide if it's a guy or a monster or a pick-upable object or whatever. C++ does that just fine for you. All right, guys, I got to go and get my food. And like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to stream more tonight or not. If I do, I'll see you later. If not, I'll see you even later than that. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for hanging out while we did some good things. And yeah, see you.